tariff news that's been playing out, Trump has also cleared a major hurdle for TikTok's survival in the US, signing an executive order that approves a proposed deal shifting the app into American ownership. The move is now addressing long-running national security concerns, and for now, at least, it spares TikTok from the nationwide ban. And then Trump also says that Xi Jinping has signed off, calling it a win for both sides. And Vice President J.D. Vance has also, emphasized that U.S. investors would control TikTok's powerful algorithm, preventing any foreign governments from using it as a propaganda tool. Take us through the details and the fine print of what this is about.
We wanted to keep TikTok operating, but we also wanted to make sure that we protected Americans' data privacy as required by law, both because it's the right thing to do, but also because it's a legal requirement of the law that was passed last year by Congress. So we think that we were able to do that. Of course, we're going to keep on working at it, but this deal really does mean that Americans can use TikTok, but actually use it with more confidence than they had in the past, because their data is going to be secure and it's not going to be used as a propaganda weapon against our fellow citizens. We're very excited about it. We appreciate the cooperation of everybody involved, and it's a big day.
TikTok. Now, maybe if you want, we could take a couple of questions on TikTok, and then we're going to get onto something completely different. Okay? Yeah.
Mr. President,
Jeff?
Mr. Vice President, you mentioned that China was resistant. Can you describe where China is now? Are they fully on board with this?
They're on board, yeah. I spoke with President Xi. We had a good talk. I told him what we were doing, and he said, go ahead with it.
All right. That's Trump talking about the entire TikTok deal. But Sumita is joining us yet again. Tell us, Sumita, more about this deal, and does it really hold a blueprint for something that India could also follow, since TikTok is banned here as well?
Ankita, these two are very different tracks, essentially, given the fact that TikTok is not really an Indian company. India is sort of negotiating with Donald Trump and the United States administration, completely different issues. Energy now having been added, and of course, agri, dairy, and pharma, those have been the key hurdles as far in terms of securing a trade deal with the United States. But coming back to the TikTok deal that Trump has approved through an executive order, in fact, J.D. Vance, we were just hearing about, he says that the business is valued at $14 billion. Now, this is something that has been irking the Americans, the American administration, since a long while from now. And in fact, now that the deal has been secured, Donald Trump essentially stated in their executive order that the deal essentially satisfies the requirements of a national security law that allows China-based ByteDance to sell TikTok's U.S. operations or face an effective ban in the country, according to the executive order. In fact, under these terms, China must still approve a new JV which will oversee TikTok's U.S. businesses, with ByteDance still retaining a 20% stake. So essentially, what Donald Trump is trying to do with this deal is, he wants more American ownership. He wants more control over data privacy, data protection, and of course, how Chinese companies operate in India, particularly with respect to TikTok in this case. However, what's interesting to note also is the fact that there were no ByteDance executives or representatives who were present at the signing, and the company hasn't really acknowledged that the transaction actually took place. Now, what remains to be seen is the fact that initially, starting April, both United States and China had imposed triple-digit tariffs on each other. And then, of course, there's been a 90-day pause that's been given by the United States administration to China. It remains to be seen whether this deal have a bearing on the trade negotiations that are currently going on between the United States and China.
All right. So that's a big news coming in, given that in India also TikTok has been banned. This could perhaps provide a blueprint going ahead for opening gates to TikTok in India as well. But let's move on then. The US economy